Good morning. I'm Denise Dryden out here in Montana doing my weekly update for you, and wow, has it been bumpy. Most of the work I've done this week is with clients who are going, I'm experiencing a lot of these different physiological, mental, like everything's up in the air. And I thought, I think it's time to do another piece on solar flares and really come at it from a supportive side, right? Because about 4 weeks ago, I think it was February 6th, I did a video on explaining what a solar flare is. So if you want that background, go back either on YouTube or Facebook, my Facebook page, or in LinkedIn or MeWe, wherever you are, and go find that one, right? So what we know is that the sun emits these bubbles, these flares, these CMEs, right? And when they do, what comes off of it comes towards Earth. It takes about 48 to 72 hours for the electromagnetic pulse to hit our planet. So it's an electromagnetic pulse. It is invisible, it is powerful, and it can do things like affect our biological systems. It can affect the weather. It can affect our bodies. It can affect all the electronics around us, right? And, there's a bunch of us, and we're trying to figure out what to do, right? What do we do when this happens? So with these electric magnetic pulses, it affects our consciousness, our human consciousness. It affects our central nervous system. It affects our brain activity. It affects our behavioral patterns, and it affects our physiology. So let's go through these, right? Because over the last 2 years, we've been dealing with contagions. We've been managing our health systems. We've been on alert, making sure that we are protected, that we are keeping ourselves sequestered away from others, making sure we don't pass something along to our loved ones. And so we are on hyper alert. And so these symptoms are confusing to us because when they're physiological or when we are experiencing something that's new and unusual, the first place we're going to go is fear, which is, what if this is another variant? What if this is another? And so what I'm doing is I just want to clear this away, which is whatever that was or continues to be, has very little to do with what's coming at us from the sun through the electromagnetic pulses. So let's go through this. When the electromagnetic pulses hit our nervous systems, we go into agitation, sort of like a reaction. Our anxiety, it goes up. We get into worry. We are irritated. We have mental activators like, and then this happened, and then this happened. We have a really, really short fuse on tolerating anything new coming in because it's just more that we have to carry. So we go into fight or flight. We go into, high levels of cortisol dumping into our body. And of course, there's overwhelm. It makes sense. That's just what happens when our nervous system gets pinged, right? Ping, ping, we're like, When our brain activity starts up, first and foremost, our pineal gland is the most reactive to these electromagnetic pulses. We have headaches, we have head pressure, we can be dizzy, we can feel like we can't keep our feet on the ground, we can become forgetful, we can have flashes of old memories of things, like all of a sudden I'm living in my childhood, or all of a sudden I'm reviewing a 16-year unsuccessful marriage. There's loose, weird things, concepts coming up in our head all the time. And so as we are, watching what our brain is doing or experiencing where our brain is taking us, it's a little crazy making, right? Then it shows up in behavior patterns, which is we're irritable, we're on edge, we're short-tempered. We can be very, very easily agitated. So relationships, a loved one saying something to you that they always say all of a sudden just doesn't work really well. Or the toleration for bad behavior is at zilch. So we get angry. We have sadness in us. We have grief in us. There's blame. We can even go into the victim position a lot. And you might see this, especially in your kids when they don't understand what's going on and they just want to point the finger at somebody else. or you yourself may go into the victim, which is, why is all of this happening to me, right? So we check out, we eat too much, we sleep, we self-medicate. I've got lots of hearts on that one. We self-medicate with alcohol, with weed, with sugar, with, I'm doing starch. Let me tell you, I can't get enough. I'm not supposed to be eating gluten at all, and I'm having a blast seeing how far I can cheat on this, just when I start to get a little agitated, right? So that's what's going on in our behavioral patterns. Now let's go to the physiology. When we are being zinged by electromagnetic pulses, we get aches and pains all over our body. We get a little jittery, like our body starts to have these shakes. We're queasy. We're losing our feet underneath us. We might even like stumble. We get into accidents. We drop things. We have upset stomachs. We have loose bowels. I mean, the idea of having diarrhea, a bubbly stomach, a headache, and clumsiness all at once, you're thinking, this is awful, right? Our ears are ringing. We can't talk easily. We can't find words. I found myself catching myself often and going like, now what's the word for that? Because I have to recalibrate and gather myself together. And I have a young daughter who works with dementia in senior issues, and she's like, Mom. And I'm like, no, that's not what this is, please. That's not what this is. Ungroundedness and giddiness. We can even be euphoric and start to like sort of float all over the place in happiness because it's like we're being boosted up, right? So the last piece I want to talk about as far as symptoms is the lack of sleep. How many of us are having difficulty sleeping? We're tossing, we're turning, we've got aches and pains throughout the night. We have energy surges where like, I've been tired all night, I go to bed early, or even just go to bed at regular time and I sit there like, okay, not even remotely sleepy now. Or my favorite is going to sleep for up to what I feel like is a good night's sleep. Sound asleep, crashed, and then wake up 45 minutes later, look at the clock and go, it's really only 45 minutes later, and I'm wide awake for 4 to 5 hours in the middle of the night. Which means that I'm exhausted during the day, that I'm dazed and confused, right? Not able to put some of this stuff together very well, okay? So if we have these physiologies going on, right? Let's just call it like it is. We're in a changing world. It's internally changing, it's externally changing, we're dismantling. We can even say we're remodeling or we're upgrading, right? What we are doing is upgrading our systems. Our consciousness is being activated, we are noticing more. The light codes within us that were dormant are being awakened. And if you want to know more about light codes, join me on the Indigo Frequency Wednesday with Lisa Gunshore on YouTube, and it's on all of these pages. You can find it. We're talking about frequency and light codes. It's going to be fabulous. Sorry, little promo over there on the side. Our DNA is being activated, and we're interacting on a new and different level. And we're increasing parts of ourselves that we didn't know. And so what seems to be happening is the old, dense, heavy, thick, sticky, stuck pattern part of us is having to let go, which means that those things that we held on to for security are also leaving. So I have 7 tips for you today. I had a good time with the tips. I'll go through them because I know we don't want to keep this for very long or take up too much time. So number 1, this is a change. It's an upgrade. Whenever you take your phone in and you get a new one, you know it's going to take some time to recalibrate all of the address books and get it back to the way that you wanted, right? So we have to sort of let go of the fact that whatever that was, whatever we were before we went through these changes, we can't take it with us. So I just finished watching 1883, and I've read just about everything there is on Wagon Trains going west since I was about 16 years old. And the piece that always stands out is how ambitious the first few miles or the first few weeks are when we have dressers and family heirlooms and music instruments. And then after carrying them and managing them through the plains, there's just this scattering of furniture all over the original Wagon Trains, because we have to put these things down. We can't take them with us. What was comfortable, it cannot stay, because we have to find a new level of comfort. Number 2, you can't control it at all. Think about a huge electromagnetic pulse that's coming in some sort of a repetitive purpose, right? And it's like waves, and you're like, stop. I don't like this. I need it to come in this way. And if you stand in the ocean and you talk to the waves and do that, it's quite humorous, actually, because you can't control the waves. All you can do is go out and play with them. And so one of the channels that I work with, Lucas, talks a lot about this energy, that as these pulses are coming in, as we are being uploaded, start to look at it like you're surfing. Ride the waves where they come in. Play. Catch something, ride it for a little while and go, well, that was interesting. You pull out, you wait for the next one, and you ride the next one. So you end up using the energy and partnering with the vibration rather than reacting to it. Number 3, adjust, adapt, stabilize, become flexible. You have to change your way of doing things, right? So you move your sleeping around. It might be that I'm up for 3 hours in the middle of the night, so get up, have a tea, do some reading, do something that I've been neglecting, like empty the dishwasher, do some other things when you're not sleeping, rather than lay there with your arms crossed being really pissed that you can't sleep, right? So you get soft and you get pliable and you rest when you can. You sleep when there's moments, and you stay up when there's moments, because you don't know, the regular schedule doesn't work anymore. We're becoming the feminine responsiveness, right? Number 4, my favorite. What you resist will persist. If I am being nailed all night with these energy surges and this activation and this irritability, and all I want to do is push it away and go to sleep, it's really funny how the harder I think I can try to push it and resist it, the more it just keeps going. Nice try, Denise, nice try. So notice the patterns, feel into them. That's the way that I have found that this works the best, is when I feel them rather than get angry that they're there, and go, so what does it really feel like in my body? Expand into my field. Feel my entire body from head to toe, so that I'm expanding my presence, right? Number 5, hydrate. We have to drink lots of water. We have to keep our system fluid so that it can wash away all of this debris. It's like you wash the car, you don't put soap on it, the soap dries, right? We need to keep fluids going through our body, and it helps if there's trace minerals, it helps if there's electrolytes, really, really helps if you take magnesium. Magnesium is one of those magical minerals that keeps our body in such a nice state. So hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Number 6, ground. Use the earth to stabilize you. Bend your knees a little bit, spread out your toes, take the arch of your foot and put it on the ground, and really just sink in and grab a hold of the earth. And for those of you who are laying flat on the ground, gripping it for all you're worth, stand up a little bit, get on your knees, get on your feet, and bend your knees and move, so that you're trusting that there's a connection that we have with earth, because we have to be able to hold this connection. That's why we're here. That's what we're embodied for. That's why we came to this earth, was to be on this earth, not to pretend like it's an enemy and stay up and hover, or to grip it and try to control it. We came to partner with it. And number 7 is own it. This is not happening to you. This is something that you are in. We are all in it. We can talk about this 5, 10, 20 years later and say, wow, wasn't that interesting? Because it's like we're literally stepping off of one floating barge onto another, or one island onto another, or one world into another. So get curious and start to become creative with the things that work for you, and be happy and be enthusiastic, because I don't think we're going back to anything that we would call normal. What we are is we're upgrading, and we're moving from one system to another until who knows when it's going to stop, or if it just continues like this. All we can do is become prepared for it. So this is the kind of support. Solar flares are doing something to us, and the more we understand that we are not just hunkered down and waiting them out, and that we're actually partnering with them, the easier it gets. I have a lot of coaching experience on this particular topic, how to monitor, adjust, stabilize, and become flexible. So if this is something you want, give me a call, drop me a note. You can find me on DeniseDryden.com. And make sure you check, like, subscribe, whatever you need to do to keep getting these, because I do them every Sunday. And come join me this Wednesday, the 16th, 5:30 Mountain Time. Come on over and see what indigo frequency is all about. Have a great Sunday. See you next week. And hang in there. Have fun with it. Bye-bye.